A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Opinion 2017. It's a day after mass protests in Nairobi and across the country that were called for by the NASA leadership, and a day when every other Kenyan is asking what next after the NASA coalition leader withdrew from the October 26th elections that were supposed to actually be happening. And we are right here at Okoa, Kenya, where the NASA leadership is expected to address a press conference shortly. I am joined by Mheshimiwa Aduma Owor, who is a member of parliament for Nyakach constituency. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa. And of course, Honorable Professor Jacqueline Oduol, who's a nominated member of parliament by the ODM party. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa Aduma, on this day, the acting cabinet secretary for interior, Fred Matiang'I, has also issued a stern warning to NASA and actually banned demonstrations within the CBD. I know the press conference is going to address that, but you, as a lawyer, what is your take on that?
As a lawyer, I would say that that is a lame duck move of somebody who is desperate out of a situation which they cannot control. No. Yeah, because that goes against the very code of the Constitution of Kenya. He has no authority to do it as a minister, because that would infringe on the right of freedom of association and movement, which is enshrined in our Constitution. So I think Matiang'I should consult with the government lawyers who will advise him as appropriate.
Wow, he should consult the government lawyers to advise him as appropriate. Mheshimiwa, earlier on when we were just chatting, you were saying Mheshimiwa Aduma will address the letter of the law. You will address the spirit of the law, which is the politics around it. Now, even as you touch on that Matiang'I issue, everywhere there appears to be several interpretations of the law: fresh election, rerun, Akuro or court. Where are we? Raila Odinga is saying there will be no election. Some quarters are saying if he's not there, they will proceed with the people who are there. But some people are also saying now there's Form 24A, which he has not filled. So whether he has withdrawn or not, he'll be on the ballot.
Thank you very much. I would say that where we are in Kenya today is really where NASA, upon realization of the manner in which the elections of August 8th were really organized contrary to Article 81 of the Constitution. We are aware that we would want that elections be not only credible, but be free and fair, and that this would be reflected in terms of the degree of seriousness and the degree of integrity. The Supreme Court ruling indicated that there were systematic irregularities and illegalities. So where we are in Kenya today is really a choice between those who would like to find a way to cover up and to proceed and truly, in all honesty, do what would be worse than August 8th. Because in August 8th, the challenges were really just within the manner in which the personnel or the leadership of the IEBC did not take specific measures to ensure that the officers, returning officers or presiding officers, did the right thing, and the manner in which they also allowed interference with the primary modes of transmission. But we now have a situation where the very institution that Mheshimiwa Aduma and I sit in are in the process of using tyranny of numbers, which is politics, to change law, not in the interest of Kenyans, as law should be in terms of solving problems, but really by all indications to retain power at any means. So I think where we are in Kenya is a moment where we must not only look at the letter of the law, but we must look at who it is that the lawyer who is reading that letter is representing, because then we will see the spirit that would either be for Kenyans and for unity and prosperity of Kenya, or we'll see a spirit of people desperate, as Mheshimiwa indicated, to retain power.
Okay. Mheshimiwa Duma, let's get to the letter of the law. Fresh election, first nullification, fresh elections, repeat elections, Form 24A, Raila withdrawing, and some people like Ekuru Court now, a court order by Justice Mativo indicating that his rights were infringed, so he's supposed to be on the ballot paper. Does it mean that if on the 26th there are no elections, there is no president? And some people indicated yesterday that, some people could swear in Uhuru Kenyatta. And some people said if Uhuru is sworn in, then they will swear in Raila. Where are we in terms of the law itself?
Thank you. In terms of the law, if you look at it, you would see that IEBC as constitution is not ready for this presidential election, because they are saying Raila's resignation or boycott would not carry validity. But if you look at it, IEBC itself has not called the candidates who are going for this presidential rerun to fill in the appropriate papers in Form 12 as required by the regulations. So I think IEBC is not ready for this election. And what would in essence happen is that we are going to get into a constitutional crisis, which would now require political solution. I also want to make it very clear to the doubting Thomases that law, as a lawyer, I know that law is a fine product of politics, and law expresses the will and the desires and the aspirations of the people. Any law which is not pegged on that is null and void and cannot be respected by the people. So whatever attempt the government is trying to do through parliament will not see the light of the day. Whether they pass those laws, even if they want to make Uhuru a life president, they can do that, but it will not see the light of the day. So I want to tell them that they need to sit down, they need to be ready for dialogue, and so that we can move this country together.
Professor, this seems to be like a never-ending soap opera. When we were going for elections on the 8th of August, nobody imagined that at this point in time, we could be talking about probably another 90 days before another election is done. From a political perspective, perhaps you participated in the demonstrations. Do you think there is good faith on the part of the acting Interior Minister in the action he has taken, and also how particular persons or parts of the country has been labeled as looters? We also have another class of persons known as business community.
Thank you very much. I think we really do know that at the end of the day, we want to go by the Constitution, and Article 37 of the Constitution does allow every Kenyan the right to picket. As a matter of fact, what is expected of the Interior Cabinet Secretary is to see to it that those who have decided to exercise this right are given the necessary protection, and that where should somebody who is not even the one coming to picket should want to take advantage, it is his duty and the duty of all those who are in the security forces to guard against this. But what I can say is that as we watch the Cabinet Secretary, I would want to submit that we are really going back to the dark days, where we not only had disregard for the rule of law, but where there was blatant impunity that would be meted out on innocent civilians, and an attempt really to muffle the voice of the common man and woman. And I would like that we remember that the journey that we have walked so far, which journey Ezra Chiloba, when he spoke on television the other day as the CEO of IEBC, said we must not give up on. The journey of democratization and the journey of ensuring that the Constitution 2010, which does give us very clear guarantees and freedoms is observed. And so I would want to urge any Kenyan who gets to hear my voice that if you are a Kenyan that has sovereignty in Article 1 of the Constitution, you are represented by those who are in Parliament. If there is a case, as you can see, where those of us who are representing you in Parliament are by and large being intimidated and bullied through tyranny of numbers out of context, then you need to see that the only constitutional means that we have is to come to you, because we are not able to speak to anybody else. And it is extremely important that we not only rise and take up this right, but that we are also able to remind CS Matiang'I and anybody else who is exercising authority delegated by Kenyans that they have absolutely no right to stop any Kenyan from realizing their legitimate right.
Okay, I hear you. I mean, we are just wrapping up. Probably I'll just come back to you for 30 seconds closing remarks. Earlier today, His Excellency Engineer Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga did have a meeting, pay a courtesy call to the Archbishop of Canterbury, who's the head of the Anglican Church. He's expected back in the country on Saturday, and then on Sunday, he's expected to address a mammoth rally at Matiang'I grounds in Mombasa County. James Agre Orengo, the senator, did indicate that from Monday, protests will be every single day. As a lawyer, as you wrap up, first, can the economy survive protests every day as you wrap up?
Thank you. The economy will not survive. This is an economy which died many years back from 2013. And I think this would just be sending it now to the grave. It will not survive. So that is why I think I would agree with what the Senator Fosia said, that we know that the economy will not survive. And these guys must be ready to talk.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Mheshimiwa, at what point will perhaps somebody like Chiloba, what will it take for Chiloba to see the light? If you're saying the economy will not survive, do we have to go down as a country for Chiloba to say, look, I did a bad job and I'm out of here, as you wrap up?
Thank you. I think the reason why Kenyans are out picketing is because that is the only recourse that is available to not only reclaim our country, but indeed to protect Constitution, which we have. And so I think as we make this effort, we would like that all Kenyans remember that contrary to propaganda that would be coming out indicating that there is an attempt by our presidential candidate to cause confusion, I think the writing is clear on the wall. We have time and again not only provided what it is we want to talk about, but we have also been ready to show up at IEBC for discussion.
Very well, there you go. I was having a discussion with Aduma War MP for Nyakach, and of course Professor Jacqueline Oduol, who's a nominated MP by the ODM party. Thank you very much. We are coming to you live from Okoa, Kenya. Senator James Agre Orengo, amongst other NASA leaders, have already arrived here, and they will be addressing a press conference shortly. Stay with us.